Hello and welcome to this podcast with the Quint, and the World Cup is over finally. बहुत लाइफ में दुख का माहौल है because कल रात को जो हुआ. But ठीक है, today I have with me Mr. Amrit Mathur. He is a former cricket administrator and an author, and I got him today to just chat with me a bit about his favorite moments of this World Cup, my favorite moments of this World Cup, and what this World Cup in general means for the sport of cricket and for Indian cricket. So Amrit, how are you doing? How has the past one day of your life been? What was it heartbreaking? What's the feeling right now? Because in our office it's all matam ka pura mahol hai.
Listen, it was great to be at the venue. The mahal was fantastic in terms of everything that went on, the spectacular fly past, the entertainment package, the cricket.
Yes.
There were more than 1 lakh people at a ground. The noise was really something else. So great atmosphere, but a bit disappointing after all that we had done in terms of 10 on 10. So but that's how cricket is. That's how cricket is. So while there is disappointment, then you have to understand that it's a sport, and on a particular day you may be second best. Not many people have had many occasions to play in front of a crowd of this size, and also to be playing with that kind of noise. So actually, while you're focusing on your game and the ball, I'm sure at some stage it crosses your mind that you're in that arena with so many people apparently against you. But I guess
I think that became like that pressure that you're talking about, that became the most evident during India's fielding, right? Because I could feel that it's not as good as it usually is. And do you think like the crowd had something to do with it? Like that
I don't think India fielded poorly, or they fielded or whatever mistakes there were because of the crowd. I think the Australians were very, very athletic, because when you're watching on television, there's a difference between television and being on ground. See, when you're watching at home, you only see what the cameras are showing you.
Show you. Yeah.
You're not getting the entire picture. You're not getting the entire picture, the entire ground. You're not getting to see what happens between overs, during a break, during a drinks break, or whatever. So you have a much better experience on ground in terms of you see many more things. Secondly, what stood out yesterday was phenomenal fielding of the Australians, not just in terms of catching, but of chasing, sprinting, diving,
stopping those boundaries,
cutting down runs on the fence. That's athleticism, that's fitness, that's agility, that's what they call explosive strength in terms of sprinting. So I think they were the superior team clearly yesterday.
And definitely, like, not to take credit away from the Indian team as well, right? Like, we've won, as you said, that we were the second best team.
Or yesterday. Maybe if we play again, we'd win. Who knows?
And
we had a phenomenal 10 games, and I don't think there's been an Indian team as good ever. Because you had 14 players, 11 playing, and almost every time those 11 were playing to top potential. If you look back on the World Cup, you will find very few cases where somebody has not played to potential. An odd player, odd innings. But otherwise, it'll be almost flawless. And listen, it's not a small tournament. It's 45 games. It's over a month and a half. It's almost 2/3 of an IPL season. So a lot of things happen in 45 days. You can get fatigued. You can get momentum. You can get tired. If your form can desert you. So it's not something which happens over 2 weeks or 10 days or a bilateral season.
Or you can start slow, as the Australians did, and then pick up like.
Listen, we are playing 5 T20s against Australia in 10 days. So 5 matches, 10 days, done, khatam. But this is 45 days. So many factors come in, and not just your actual play. You are traveling, you are training, all kinds of things are happening.
So talking about like reflecting back to these 45 days, what has been your personal favorite moment from this whole World Cup?
Listen,
If there is one.
lots of new things in the World Cup. I don't think we've seen this level of involvement of the country in a tournament and investing in a team.
Okay.
Uh,
How do you say that?
it's been amplified in terms of the media attention, the reporting, the constant conversations around the World Cup. So that's at a very high level. And that is reflected in the television numbers, in terms of the audiences, in terms of people who are following live on Hotstar, Disney, whatever numbers have come out.
Yeah.
So I think that shows a growth in terms of people actively following cricket. It has dominated conversations in houses, corporate offices, everywhere. So I think
Yeah.
that's high compared to what we've been used to. Obviously the Indian team's performance have been phenomenal in terms of such extended success over 10 games, and not just success, it's been domination.
Yeah.
You win games with 300 runs. You got top teams out of 180 or whatever. This I don't
Yeah.
think it happened earlier, so this is something new. And when did we last speak of India winning because of a very destructive bowling attack?
Bowling attack. Yeah.
You had five bowlers, you didn't require a six. So you played a large
uh,
part of the tournament with five
yeah.
bowlers, and you didn't even look at a sixth option because you were so sure of the ability and skills of the five. So that's again something new about the Indian team. We always have somebody chipping in to do 10, and so that's a change. And I think we also played a different kind of cricket.
Okay.
Traditionally, our template has been a bit of caution, build in innings, partnerships, save wickets. We
True.
saw difference in batting, performance.
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma led by, somebody else. So that was a kind of a new way of playing. So there have been changes. When you're watching games for 45 days, very often these you tend to focus on the result. You tend to focus on the wins and losses. But these
Yeah.
changes under the surface, maybe, the way you play, the changes in your team composition, and sometimes you overlook these. But I think
Yeah.
these are trends which have emerged as far as the Indian cricket is concerned. But if you look at the World Cup as such, I think there have been very good moments in terms of what Netherlands did, stunning South Africa,
Yeah. South
what
Africa.
Afghanistan did over extended, you know, um, things in the World Cup. At the same time, there's huge disappointment about, very ordinary performances from Pakistan, Sri
Yeah.
Lanka, Bangladesh,
England.
England, and even ultimately New Zealand subpar. They just about scraped through into the semifinals.
Yeah.
New Zealand is a better team than that. So
Also, I
there
would
is
say
this
West Indies, even like before the
tiny, na?
competition, not
वो तो है नहीं.
qualifying. Yeah.
Yeah, but there is
Yeah.
this subtle change of hierarchy in terms of who's good and how good. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see it later with more tournaments. But I think the success story really was Afghanistan because nobody expected them to do this well.
Yeah.
Nobody expected India to win 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Nobody expected Afghanistan to beat strong sides. And it was 91 for 7 against Australia, you know. So I
So, what
think,
do you think teams like Netherlands and Afghanistan are doing right?
listen, what people tend to overlook is that Afghanistan cricket is pretty organized. They have lots of cricket in Afghanistan. We still think that they are playing out of refugee camps. That's not the fact.
Yeah.
They have a fairly decent domestic structure, which is more towards 20 over cricket and 40 over cricket. But they also have what we call red ball cricket. They have a domestic season, and they've got 4 or 5 grounds. Obviously, Kabul being the main one,
Yeah.
and at least 10 of the cricketers are playing in the professional leagues. At least 10.
Yeah.
That's something we overlook. All the
True.
spinners, all the batsmen, they don't do the IPL and the big ones, but they are in the ILT20. They're playing Bangladesh. They're playing in Sri Lanka. Some of them are
Yeah.
playing IPL. Some of them are playing Big Bash. So, they've been around. And it's not just 1 or 2 seasons. They've been around 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So that exposure to international standards is
And the top level
there.
international standard. And not only
Yeah.
exposure, they're doing well there. Whether
True.
it's Mufti, whether it's Nabi, whether it's Gurbaz, whether it's Rashid Khan, Noor,
Yeah.
Naveen Haq,
Hmm.
they are known professionals on the international circuit. What is the
Yeah.
surprise was that they could come together and win
Hmm.
matches, and
Yeah.
the real surprise was the batting. Earlier, the batting was
Hmm.
very inconsistent. There's Gurbaz, who's
Yeah.
a star, and the others would do well, not do well. But now we had Azmat, Hashmat, Omar. So suddenly you had a middle order which stood up and made runs. They chased down 280 against Pakistan for 2 wickets.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, so not only were they capable of just making runs at the top of the order with Gurbaz, they successfully chased scores against top teams and with
Hmm.
total calmness, professionalism. So I think they've suddenly sort of come, sort of grown in this tournament, and people are taking notice of Afghanistan now. And
Yeah.
what do you think of it? They are at the moment ahead of Bangladesh, ahead of Sri Lanka, ahead of
Yeah.
maybe again maybe better than Pakistan at the moment.
Yeah. And do you
So
think this will make way for more bilaterals to be had with Afghanistan so that they play these international
I
countries
haven't
more
taken a look
often?
at the FTP, so that's a big issue because listen, we don't even play Bangladesh regularly.
Yeah.
So bilaterals are tough, at least for India,
Yeah.
because we already have a hugely crowded calendar.
Schedule.
We
Yeah.
are talking today on the 20th. The Indian team is going to play T20 on the
So,
23rd.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
most of the boys haven't even reached home after the
Yeah.
game yesterday.
I could see the South Africa wala ads during the World Cup final. While the final
So,
was going on, I was seeing
so
ads and
if
promotional stuff for the
there's
other
a game on the
series.
23rd, you will have to assemble
Hmm.
at least 21st, which is tomorrow
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
After a 45-day tournament, you just about have time to go home, have one meal, and take a flight next
Yeah.
morning. So
I think the
that's tough.
viewers wouldn't have mentally recovered from the World Cup, let alone the
Yeah,
players.
that is 15. I don't think you and I are going to
Yeah.
watch those matches as closely as we've done the World Cup. Because
Exactly.
after such a high over an extended period, the interest has to dip.
Yeah.
It has to come down. And I'm not even sure what purpose these 5 matches serve.
Now, coming back to the cup, I want to talk about one really because we were talking about favorite moments, and one of my most favorite and precious moments was just seeing this guy Rachin Ravindra play. Like, what a beautiful start to a career. Like, what would you want
Yeah,
to say
actually,
about him?
if you start looking at players, you can start with India. I think the way Rohit Sharma batted was a major, major change. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, we saw phenomenal transformation of Shreyas Iyer.
Shreyas Iyer, exactly.
Okay. He had an injury issue, he had a form issue, he had a technical
Yeah.
issue. But
Hmm.
despite all that, he came back a much stronger player, made those 200s,
Yeah.
and looked a real, solid, impactful player. So, major
Yeah.
transformation. Our pace bowling was again a revelation, in terms of what Shami did and what
Shami.
Bumrah did. Listen, even in the game yesterday, they went past Travis Head's off stump 20 times. You
Yeah.
know, so one edge at a time could have changed the game. That's how close the
Exactly.
margins are. So I
Yeah.
think there was many changes and many sort of things to remember as for the Indian team is concerned. When you come to individual performances, obviously Maxwell is once in a 100-year kind of performance.
How do
Forget
how
his
do you
gender.
personally rate that innings?
Listen, it's an impossible innings.
Yeah. Were you
Australia can.
there on ground?
I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
No. Do
Australia
you
can
wish
be
you were?
Australia can be the same position 100 times, and Afghanistan will win 100 times. Is
Hmm.
nobody can sort of play that innings again. Not Maxwell, not Don
Yeah.
Bradman, nobody. It's not going
Yeah.
to ever happen. 91 for 7, 200 to get, but 200 or whatever to get, and the man makes 200 on one leg, can't move,
And
can,
yeah,
and
cramps and all.
despite all,
Oh.
despite all these physical problems, every ball he hit went out of the ground. I don't remember a missed hit in those, 30 to 200. So
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened. And I'm sure he also doesn't know. And it's never going to happen again. You mentioned Rachin, fantastic for an under 19 cricketer with no success previously to come and hit 300. Great.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's phenomenally talented. Good fielder, more than useful left arm spinner. So you have a star for the future. And not just in a 20 or 50 over game. I think he will going to be a major player in all formats. What was surprising was Zampa getting 21 wickets.
Yeah.
21 to 22, whatever. Madhushanka, relatively new bowler, succeeding.
Yeah.
So these are new players. Zampa is not new, but I think Madhushanka is very new. So he's like Rachin, somebody new who's come and made a mark in a World Cup. Then the new South African bowler, Kohli, he's 140 plus. He looks to be a major pace bowler in the years to come.
You just mentioned Madhushanka, and that got me thinking, what is happening to Sri Lankan cricket? I mean, a country which has had a history of, like, I think, like, personally, growing up in the 2000s, if there was any country other than Australia that we would, fear, it would be that Sri Lankan squad, right? But
they also had the rough end of the season because of injuries and things.
Yeah.
Pathirana chala gaya, Hasaranga was not there, Shanaka got injured. So these are top players there, and these are the main players in their 11. So if you're losing 3-4 players from your main 11, obviously there's a problem.
But doesn't that also hint at a more structural problem in terms of your bench strength?
It does, but I think injuries are a problem with every team. We had major injuries. We had KL Rahul, Shreyas Iyer, Bumrah. We were struggling. But fine, we got them fit in time and they performed well. But we had major issues of team balance because of Bumrah nahi hai to kya hoga, KL Rahul,
True.
Shreyas Iyer himself. So injuries are a problem.
Also, talking about the England team now, as you had also mentioned, one of the biggest surprises I think we all got this season, just like crumbling down. What's the story there?
So I don't think anybody has answered that. How come Bairstow, Butler, Stokes, Harry Brook, everybody failed collectively. And not only failed, they didn't look like it. They didn't look like making runs. Sometimes you have a few bad games, you have a bad decision, but you're looking nice. You're hitting the ball well, and you're okay. Stokes made it 100 towards the end, but it didn't really matter. England's out of the competition. So maybe he was a reluctant member of the team because having retired, he was pulled back to come to the World Cup. But difficult to describe. But I think there are times with teams where suddenly things go wrong, and you have to sort of reset and reboot. So there was this conversation about end of an era for the English team. I think that's quite correct. It's come. We'll need to get new players and maybe find some new inspiration. They have a serious problem.
Yeah, I think this is such a revelation even for us as fans, right? These classical cricketing nations are not doing as well, and these new countries, new places like Afghanistan and Netherlands. How does it make you feel as a person who has observed cricket for so long? What's it like for you? Did you ever imagine that इंग्लैंड के साथ ऐसा हो रहा होगा और दूसरी तरफ नेदरलैंड्स एंड अफगानिस्तान?
किसी ने नहीं सोचा था कि इंग्लैंड के साथ ऐसा होगा. ये किसी ने नहीं सोचा था कि इंडिया के साथ ऐसा होगा. ये किसी ने नहीं सोचा था कि कल कमिंस टॉस जीत के बॉलिंग करेगा. Not one
that
person.
was such a flip, and it turned out
it's
to
like,
be
it's like Cummins is bowler है कि Googly bowler है. I think everybody by surprise. I don't remember even one guy saying win the toss and bowl in a World Cup final.
Yeah.
So
in all of our WhatsApp groups, it was like, oh, how did he bowl? How did he choose to bowl, man?
Rohit Sharma said, I would have batted. Everybody else said win toss, bat, put runs on the board. So he converted, totally flipped that conventional wisdom, fielded, and dismissed you for 240. So his decision is completely vindicated. He's proved right. I have a plan. I want to play the game this way, and I've done it.
Yeah.
It's not that I took a chance and I failed.
Yeah.
See what I wanted
And
to
even
do.
after like a bit of a setback in the bowling power play, in India's bowling power play, just getting that innings back on track was like a
India was, I think, 80 for 1 or so in 10 overs.
10
But
overs.
despite that, 240 all out and
Exactly.
total control of the game. It's not just that
Yeah.
he got us out for 240. He controlled the game. You know,
True.
when there was a partnership building, he didn't allow the Indian batsmen to score runs.
Yeah.
Okay. There is this, I think, statistics that between this over and that over, there was no boundary scored or 5 boundaries were scored.
Yeah. For at least
So,
I think 1 hour or something, there was no
whatever.
boundary
So,
scored. Yeah.
he's won the toss. He's got the right bowlers in place. He's set the right field. He's controlled the game, and he's dismissed you for 240. So
Yeah.
that's phenomenal strategy and phenomenal execution. It's one thing to make strategy, but you have to go and do it. He did
Yeah.
it. So from their perspective, it is a perfect game. Even the way they batted, that is deliberate. It's not that Warner and Mitch Marsh are just throwing the bats. They are doing
Yeah.
it because they want to get out to a start, get to 70, 80
True.
before something happens.
Yeah.
So they took a chance, didn't happen. It didn't work out, so they fell back on traditional cricket
Oh
to
yeah.
build.
Exactly.
Then, so I think perfect game from their side. And look at Travis Head. He was injured, out of the tournament, got 100. First game he came back, man of the match semi-final, man of the match final, and he did it against India at the Oval also 6 months ago. He made 160 then, and he made 130 yesterday. So give him credit for seizing the opportunity on a big occasion and delivering big time.
Yeah. And how do you, what do you think of Rahul Dravid's role in this whole season and in general his
Listen,
performance as a coach?
obviously, he's the ultimate professional, and he's the ultimate selfless person. Who will always put Indian cricket, Indian team ahead of everything else.
Yeah.
Don't forget, as a player, forget his stint as a coach. Dravid, I think, played about 168 matches or so, test matches, which I think only 2 or 3 people have played more. I think Ponting and Anderson and Sachin, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And he's the highest catcher in terms of, I think, 200 catches or something in test cricket. But don't forget, the same Rahul Dravid, who's the number one person to take catches in test cricket, has kept wickets for 120, 140 one day and T20 one for ODI.
Yeah.
So let's think about it. कि सबसे अच्छा slip fielder history में for team that is keeping wickets for 100 matches. It's not an occasional आज कर लो कोई नहीं है, somebody is injured.
Yeah. And I think during the most crucial time of Indian wicket keeping history.
More than 100 ODIs he's kept wickets.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of teaching anybody about commitment, focus, determination, hard work, there's nobody better than him. Not in India, not anywhere. So he's the ultimate pro.
Do you think he'll be continuing in the future as well as the coach?
I think the decision is his more than anybody else's. And listen, it's not easy being a coach of an international team because you are on the road 8 to 10 months. And if you have family, you have children, you have other commitments, even if you have nothing of that kind, you just get tired, mentally, physically drained. So it's a tough call, but so who knows?
And who do you think, let's say hypothetically, if he won't be continuing, who do you think could be filling those shoes right now?
I really don't know, but the indications as we see from time to time is Lakshman. He's stepped in whenever Rahul has not been available within India A side on a relatively, a tour where Rahul is taking a break. So I really don't know.
Okay, coming back again to this World Cup, obviously no World Cup can be finished without some little controversies, and this year the biggest one obviously was Angelo Matthews' timeout. I mean, what do you think about that?
There are two things. There are two views. A, it's a ridiculous thing. You know, it's a law, I understand. So technically, he is out. The
Yeah.
umpires have no option but to declare out once there is an appeal because two
Yeah.
minutes had passed. And 2 minutes had passed even before the strap issue came up. So,
Mm-hmm.
no question. But I think it's somehow not done to appeal for this. Uh,
Yeah.
and the fact that it hasn't happened for 150 years in Test cricket is proof of that.
Yeah.
If it is
Exactly.
such a major thing, it's not that he's the first player to come to go beyond two
Come
minutes.
late, exactly. As soon as it happened there, people were citing examples कि अच्छा ये तो 6 मिनट लेट आया था ये इतने मिनट.
It's the it's not the norm, but it happens practically every innings.
Yeah.
You know. Huh. So I think it was a bit much to appeal for this.
Yeah.
So the issue I think would have been settled had either he had not appealed, or when given an option of taking it back, he should have accepted it.
Yeah. And his side is obviously that, we were at a war stage, so all of these things didn't matter to me. So,
Yeah, you can argue it both ways,
yeah.
but if you ask the cricketers, 9 out of 10 would say we would have appealed.
Yeah.
वो जीतने के लिए कुछ भी कह दे लॉ में है आउट है तो आउट है हमारा काम है अपील
Yeah.
करना फैसला करना
It's like
तो
that whole Mankading debate all over again, right?
there's a difference there somebody is taking an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Here is what is the advantage, yeah? If he's 30
Mm.
seconds beyond 2 minutes, he's not getting any advantage. He's not getting an extra
Yeah,
run.
that's
He's
also
not
true.
getting something to benefit him. So there's a big
Yeah.
difference between the non-strikers, going
Running a
beyond the.
bit early. Yeah.
बहुत फर्क है वहां तो I have no sympathy for the non-striker.
Non-striker, हाँ.
It's your job to stay here and not take an unfair advantage. And if you do, I'll appeal and get you out. पर यहाँ तो कुछ नहीं कर रहा मैथ्यू तो क्या फायदा हुआ.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, we are about at the end of our conversation, and I just want to have like a general idea from you. How do you think the future of Indian cricket looks in, let's say, the next 1.5 years, something?
Listen, 1-2 साल में तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला है change. But if you take a larger picture of Indian cricket, I think the big change is going to be better quality women's cricket. You
Yeah.
had women's cricket, you had the WPL,
IPL
you
and all, yeah.
some very good players coming through, whether it's Smriti or whether it is Harmanpreet or Jemima or others. But I think suddenly you have stars. The standard has risen, but you've just about touched the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Much more needs to be done. And I think the next 5 years you'll see a major growth in women's cricket. Because
I
men's
somehow
cricket,
draw parallels to Afghanistan's approach to their men's team, and I somehow sort of equate that to what we are and should be doing with our women's team, right?
listen, our women play Test cricket.
Yeah.
Women have played Test cricket under lights abroad. But there is no red ball tournament in India. They don't play what they call days cricket. So you're playing a
Yeah.
test match without having played with a red ball. That is reality today. So
Yeah.
you need a structure of domestic cricket where you play beyond 50 overs. You play a 2-day tournament or a 3-day tournament. That you need to do. So you have to develop that part of women's cricket. And you also have to get more and more girls into cricket. Abhi jo hai, the pool is small. And if you look at the states who are playing, the number of girls who play the 16, 19, 23 senior is not more than 100. So the same set of girls play in different age groups. So I think everybody has to get more and more girls in, and that is happening.
Yeah.
And you need to have what is called red ball cricket.
Yeah.
It's
Because that's
unfair,
what will,
and it's unfair to ask the team to go and play a test match when they've never
Yeah.
played
Never
3-day game
played it
or 4-day
domestically.
game.
Yeah, that's true. That was a great chat with you, sir. Thanks a lot for having this conversation. I think it was interesting to just contextualize all of these events that are happening, right? Because for us, as you said, that the Virat Kohli century or a Rohit Sharma 50, it's a statistic, but what it means actually to the larger sport of cricket, that's what's more important. So thanks a lot for having this chat with me. Thank you.
Yes,
This
I
was
enjoyed it.
Prateek, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you very much. Bye.